All right, today we're diving deep into the Aegean Sea. We're on the hunt for two incredible, magnificent civilizations that climb to unbelievable heights, only to completely vanish, leaving behind one of history's most fascinating mysteries.
So I want you to just picture this, a world filled with powerful kings, these huge, bustling palaces, and trade networks that stretched across the known world. Now, imagine all of that being just wiped out, gone, in the span of a couple of generations. Palaces burned to the ground, cities totally abandoned, and an entire way of life just vanished.
So, what on earth happened? That is the great mystery we're going to try and unpack today. And to even begin to solve it, we've got to meet the incredible cultures that built this world in the first place, starting with what many consider the very first great European civilization.
Our story really kicks off on the island of Crete. I mean, it's this perfectly placed stepping stone right between Europe, Africa, and the Near East. And it's here that this really unique and vibrant culture, which we call the Minoans, named after the mythical king Minos, popped up around 2200 BCE.
Okay, so the crucial thing you have to get about the Minoans is that their whole society revolved around these absolutely massive, complex palaces. But these weren't just fancy homes for kings, no. You should think of them more like the central command centers, the warehouses, the whole economic hub for the entire island. Every bit of produce, every textile, it all flowed into the palace to be counted and recorded, and then flowed back out to the people. It was this incredibly centralized system.
And when you piece together what their society was like, it's just fascinating. For one thing, their palaces had no defensive walls at all, which tells you they must have felt incredibly secure on their island. You look at their art, and it's all about nature, dolphins, octopuses, the sea, not scenes of war. And they even developed their own unique writing system, which we call Linear A. And get this, to this day, we still can't read it. So you have this picture of a sophisticated, pretty peaceful society of traders and artists. But, well, they weren't alone.
At the same time, over on the Greek mainland, a very, very different kind of power was on the rise. These were the Mycenaeans. You know, the legendary heroes of Greek myth, the society that gave us the stories of Achilles and the Trojan War, that was them.
I mean, the contrast between them and the Minoans is just night and day. Where the Minoans had these open, sprawling palaces, the Mycenaeans built gigantic, walled fortresses. Their greatest legends, their art, it's all about war, conquest, and heroes. And here's the crucial part. They took the Minoan script and adapted it to write their own language. This became Linear B, which is actually the earliest known form of Greek. And for the longest time, we couldn't read it either, until it was finally deciphered in 1952. And that just unlocked their entire world for us.
So you've got these two civilizations right next door to each other. One is a pretty peaceful, seafaring trader culture. The other, an ambitious, mainland warrior culture. You can probably guess where this is headed.
Just look at the breakdown here. Island versus mainland. Open, undefended palaces versus these massive citadels. A focus on trade and art versus a focus on warfare and conquest. I mean, it was a culture clash just waiting to happen. And let's be honest, one side had a pretty clear military advantage.
And the evidence on the ground is crystal clear. After about 1450 BCE, if you look at the administrative records from the Great Minoan Palace at Knossos, they're not written in Minoan Linear A anymore. Suddenly, they're all in Mycenaean Linear B. It's the smoking gun. The warriors had taken over from the traders. The Mycenaeans were now the undisputed rulers of the Aegean. And for about 200 years, the Mycenaean world absolutely flourished. Their power was at its peak, their wealth was growing, and their palaces were the centers of this huge, complex society. But this golden age was about to come to a very sudden and very violent end.
So thanks to those Linear B tablets, we can read. We have this amazing blueprint of their whole society. Right at the very top, you had the Wanox, the king. He ruled through a whole layer of high officials and priests, and he commanded a dedicated military class, the Hecatai, whose job was basically raiding. And below them, you had local leaders organizing all the artisans and workers who made the whole economy run. It was a really complex, really rigid, and really powerful system.
But just look at how fast it all fell apart. For 100 years, they're at the absolute height of their power. Then, starting right around 1200 BCE, almost every single one of their palaces, all across Greece, was violently destroyed, burned, and then abandoned. Most of them were never lived in again.
And here's the thing that's so vital to understand. This wasn't just happening to the Mycenaeans. This was a catastrophe on a regional scale. The great Hittite Empire over in modern-day Turkey, one of the world's superpowers, completely disintegrated.
Major cities from Troy all the way to Syria were burned to the ground. Historians call it the Late Bronze Age collapse. An entire international system of trade, diplomacy, and culture just came crashing down.
And in the aftermath came silence. Writing itself completely disappeared from Greece for centuries. The population plummeted, the world entered what we literally call a dark age. And the exact cause? Was it a mysterious invasion? Was it climate change, internal rebellions, or maybe just a perfect storm of all three? Well, that is still one of history's greatest debates.
Which really leaves us with a final, kind of chilling question, doesn't it? The Mycenaeans, they had a complex economy, a rigid social hierarchy, and immense military power. By all accounts, they seemed invincible. And yet, in the space of a single lifetime, their entire world was just erased. It's this powerful, timeless reminder from the ancient world about just how fragile civilization itself can be.